Hello there, my sleepy fellows. Tonight, we venture into the enchanting world of Middle-earth, to a place where the trees whisper ancient secrets and the air carries the fragrance of elven blossoms. Close your eyes and let the soft glow of twilight guide you. Imagine the Shire, calm and serene, where fireflies dance in the cool evening air and lanterns flicker in cozy hobbit holes carved into rolling hills. As you breathe deeply, feel the quiet hum of the world around you, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves, the distant murmur of a brook weaving through the woods, and the faint melodic songs of elves drifting from beyond the horizon. This is a place of wonder where the veil between the ordinary and the extraordinary is thin, and magic hums softly beneath every stone and blade of grass. Tonight, we'll step beyond the ordinary paths and explore the hidden heart of Middle-earth, where mysteries unfold like petals of a flower under the moonlight. Our story will take us to the secret realm of Lothlórien, where the golden woods hold ancient memories, and the Lady Galadriel herself watches over the land with wisdom and grace. If you find comfort in these magical journeys, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this experience with others who seek peace and relaxation. Your support allows us to continue exploring the mystical corners of Middle-earth together, weaving stories that bring warmth to your heart and calm to your spirit. So, find your most comfortable spot, let go of the day's worries, and allow your imagination to drift. Together, we will uncover the secrets of Middle-earth's timeless beauty, one gentle step at a time. As we settle into this enchanting journey through Middle-earth, let me share with you the tale that awaits, a story filled with quiet wonder and serene discovery. Tonight, we'll step into the golden woods of Lothlorien, a secret realm hidden deep within the heart of Middle-earth. Here, time moves differently. The air shimmers with an otherworldly glow, and every step reveals secrets long forgotten. Our story begins with whispers carried by the wind, soft and melodic, like an elven lullaby. Guided by Gandalf's wisdom and the quiet resolve of a curious traveler, we'll uncover the mysteries that dwell beneath the golden canopy of trees. Each moment will draw us closer to the magic that lies at the heart of Lothlorien, a realm guarded by Galadriel, whose wisdom shines as bright as the stars. Imagine walking through paths illuminated by the light of starlit skies, the trees alive with memories of ancient times. You'll hear the soothing sounds of nature, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant melody of a waterfall, and the soft calls of creatures unseen but ever present. As we wander through this tale, we'll encounter quiet moments of reflection and revelation. Every scene is crafted to immerse you in a world of peace and wonder, where the soothing cadence of the narrative will ease your mind and gently carry you toward restful sleep. So, my friends, let us start this tranquil journey to the secret realm of Lothlorien. Relax, breathe deeply, and let the magic of Middle-earth surround you like a warm, comforting embrace. Now, let us step quietly into the story and begin our exploration. In the heart of Middle-earth, nestled between towering peaks and sprawling valleys, there lies a forest so old and wise that even the wind whispers its name with reverence, Lothlórien. This hidden realm, bathed in golden light and cloaked in timeless tranquility, is said to hold secrets beyond the reach of mortal understanding. Tonight, we step into this realm, guided by the wisdom of Gandalf and the curiosity of a traveler whose path we follow. Our traveler is Arundel, a young elf of Rivendell, with silver hair cascading like moonlight and eyes that seem to hold the glow of distant stars. Arundel is no ordinary elf, for his heart is stirred not only by the beauty of Middle-earth, but by the mysteries it holds. Always drawn to stories whispered around Rivendell's fires, he longs to uncover the truths hidden in the ancient lore of his people. On this particular evening, Arundel sits beneath the boughs of a great oak, a scroll unfurled in his lap. The soft glow of a lantern beside him casts flickering shadows on the parchment, illuminating words penned in the flowing script of the Elves. The scroll speaks of a secret realm, a place untouched by the ages, where Galadriel herself weaves her magic into the fabric of time. Lothlórien, it is called, the Golden Wood. As Arundel reads, the world around him grows still, as if the forest itself is listening to the tale. The faint chirp of crickets fills the air, and a gentle breeze carries the scent of blooming flowers. A sudden rustle in the trees draws his gaze upward, and there, perched on a branch, is Gandalf the Grey. His weathered face is softened by a knowing smile, and his eyes twinkle with the wisdom of countless journeys. "Ah, young Arundel," Gandalf says, in a voice both deep and soothing, "I see you've stumbled upon a tale that calls to your spirit." Arundel rises, the scroll clasped tightly in his hands. "It speaks of Lothlórien, Gandalf, a place of wonder and secrets. Is it true?" "True indeed," Gandalf replies, stepping down from the branch with a grace that belies his age. "But tales, my dear elf, are like rivers. They flow and twist, and their paths are often hidden until you venture forth to follow them." With that, Gandalf places a hand on Arendel's shoulder. "Come, if you wish to know the truth of Lothlórien, we must journey together, for there is more to this realm than even the oldest scrolls can reveal." The two set off, their steps guided by the moonlight filtering through the forest canopy. As they walk, the world around them seems to hum with quiet anticipation. The journey to Lothlórien has begun, and with it, a tale that will unfold like a gentle breeze, carrying the listener deeper into the heart of Middle-earth. The night was serene, its quietness only interrupted by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Gandalf and Arundel walked side by side, their path illuminated by the soft silver glow of the moon. The forest was alive, yet it felt as though it held its breath in anticipation, as if it, too, was aware of the journey about to unfold. "Lothlórien is not merely a place," Gandalf said, his voice low and resonant, blending with the natural cadence of the woods. "It is a realm of enchantment, a sanctuary of wisdom and beauty, but it is also a place of mystery. Even the wisest among us cannot fully comprehend its secrets." Arundel nodded, his steps careful as he absorbed every word. The scroll he had read back in Rivendell hinted at wonders, but now, as they journeyed deeper into Middle-earth, he realized it was only the beginning of an unfolding story. The path ahead twisted through a thick grove of ancient trees, their trunks wide and gnarled as though they had stood since the dawn of time. Gandalf paused, placing a hand on one of the trunks. His fingers brushed a faint carving etched into the bark, an intricate design of stars surrounding a crescent moon. "These markings," Arundel whispered, stepping closer. "What do they mean?" "They are the sigils of the elves who once traversed these lands," Gandalf explained. "Guides for those who seek Lothlórien, if only they know where to look." The sigils seemed to shimmer faintly under the moonlight, and Arundel felt a peculiar warmth emanating from it. "Do we follow them?" Gandalf smiled. "Indeed, but the path they show is not always as straightforward as one might hope. Lothlórien reveals itself only to those who truly seek it." They continued, the sigils appearing sporadically along the way, some etched into trees, others carved into stones. Each time Arundel spotted one, it felt as though a piece of the puzzle fell into place, guiding them closer to the golden wood. As dawn began to break, the forest gave way to a vast meadow bathed in a golden hue. Dewdrops clung to the tall grass, sparkling like tiny jewels in the first rays of sunlight. In the distance, a faint mist clung to the ground, curling around the base of towering Meliorn trees. "This is the border of Lothlórien," Gandalf said softly. "Beyond this meadow lies a place unlike any other." Arundel took a hesitant step forward, his heart filled with a mix of awe and trepidation. The air itself felt different, lighter, almost ethereal. As they crossed the meadow, a soft melody drifted through the air, faint and hauntingly beautiful. "Do you hear that?" Arundel asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Gandalf nodded. "The song of the golden wood. Few are privileged to hear it, for it is said to carry the essence of the elves who dwell within." The melody grew stronger as they approached the base of the first great tree. Its trunk was impossibly wide, its bark glowing faintly with a golden sheen. At its base, a narrow path spiraled upward, disappearing into the canopy. "Do we climb?" Arundel asked, his gaze following the path upward. "Not yet," Gandalf replied. "Lothlórien is not only a place of beauty, but also a place of trials. Before we ascend, we must first earn its trust." Suddenly, the mist around them began to thicken, curling into shapes that seemed almost alive. Shadows danced within it, and Arundel felt a chill run down his spine. "What is this?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Lothlórien tests those who seek its sanctuary," Gandalf said calmly. "Fear not, for the shadows are not our enemy. They are merely reflections, meant to reveal our own hearts." Arundel closed his eyes, letting the mist envelop him. Within it, he saw flashes of memories, his childhood in Rivendell, the faces of his family, the scroll that first spoke of Lothlórien. The shadows shifted, revealing a faint image of the golden wood itself, its trees glowing like beacons of hope. When he opened his eyes, the mist had begun to dissipate, and the melody of the golden wood had grown even stronger. Gandalf stood beside him, his expression one of quiet approval. "You have passed the first test," the wizard said. "Lothlorien welcomes those who carry a pure heart and a curious spirit." They began their ascent, the path winding gently around the great tree. As they climbed higher, the air grew warmer, filled with the scent of blossoms and the sound of rustling leaves. The world below seemed to fade away, leaving only the tranquility of the golden wood. When they reached the top, the sight that greeted them was nothing short of breathtaking. A sprawling city of elven craftsmanship stretched out before them, its structures built seamlessly into the trees. Lanterns of soft golden light hung from the branches, casting a warm glow over the entire realm. "This is Caris Galadon," Gandalf said, his voice filled with reverence. "The heart of Lothlorien and the seat of Lady Galadriel's wisdom." Arundel stood in silence, taking in the beauty and wonder of the scene. For the first time, he truly understood why the Golden Wood was considered the crown jewel of Middle-earth. As they stepped into the city, the journey's mystery deepened. What secrets would Lothlorien reveal? What wisdom would Lady Galadriel share? Arendel's heart swelled with anticipation, for he knew this was only the beginning of an extraordinary adventure. The air in Lothlorien was alive, carrying an almost tangible sense of enchantment. Gandalf and Arundel walked in awe through the heart of Caris Galadon, surrounded by trees whose branches sparkled with an otherworldly glow. The city above and below hummed with quiet activity. Elves moved gracefully through the tree-lined walkways, their voices a harmonious murmur against the backdrop of soft harp music. "Lothlorien feels like a dream," Arundel said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's as though time itself slows down here." "It is not just a feeling," Gandalf replied with a gentle smile. "Time flows differently within these woods. The magic of Lothlorien shields it from the decay of the outside world, but it is also a place of clarity where truths come to light." Arundel nodded, his gaze drawn to a grand staircase winding upward through the golden branches. At its apex stood a pavilion of silver and gold, shimmering faintly under the starlit sky. "Is that where we are headed?" "Yes," Gandalf replied. "Lady Galadriel awaits us. She holds answers to the mysteries we seek." The ascent was slow and reverent, each step feeling more significant than the last. As they reached the top, they were greeted by the soft glow of Lady Galadriel herself. She stood at the center of the pavilion, her presence radiant and serene. Lord Celeborn stood beside her, his calm demeanor a steady counterpart to her ethereal grace. "Welcome, Gandalf the Grey and Arundel of Rivendell," Galadriel said, her voice melodic and soothing. "You have come far to reach these halls, and the woods have deemed you worthy." Arundel bowed low, unable to find words in the presence of such majesty. Gandalf stepped forward, his tone respectful. "Lady Galadriel, we come seeking knowledge. Rumors speak of a growing shadow beyond the misty mountains, and Arundel has uncovered signs of its stirring." Galadriel's gaze softened as she turned to Arundel. "Speak, young one. What have you found?" Arundel hesitated before producing the aged scroll he had carried since Rivendell. This was written long ago, describing a place hidden deep within Middle-earth. It speaks of a power that could either aid in our fight against darkness or consume all who seek it. Galadriel took the scroll, her slender fingers tracing the ancient script. Her expression grew somber as she read, her eyes reflecting the weight of the words. This speaks of the Hall of Aelinor, a place shrouded in secrecy even to the elves. Its existence has been debated, but few have ever claimed to find it. What lies within the hall? Gandalf asked, his tone thoughtful. Galadriel met his gaze. It is said to contain a mirror, one capable of revealing not only what was and what is, but also what may yet come to pass. It is a tool of immense power and danger. Arendil felt a shiver run down his spine. Could it be used by Sauron? That depends, Galadriel replied, her voice steady. The mirror does not serve any one master. It reveals truths, but the interpretation of those truths can lead to light or darkness. The pavilion grew silent, the weight of her words settling over them. Gandalf finally spoke, his voice resolute. Then it must not fall into the hands of those who would misuse it. We must find it before Sauron's forces do. Galadriel nodded. Your path will not be easy. The hall lies deep within the forests of Middle-earth, its location hidden by enchantments that test the heart and mind. But you will not face this journey alone. She stepped forward, her hands glowing faintly as she held out a small vial of liquid light. Take this, Gandalf. It is the light of Arendil. It will guide you when all other lights fail. Gandalf accepted the vial with a deep bow. Thank you, Lady Galadriel. Your wisdom and gifts are invaluable. Arendil felt a mix of apprehension and excitement as they descended the staircase. The Hall of Aelinor, do you believe it truly exists? He asked. Lothlórien does not speak of legends lightly, Gandalf replied. If Galadriel believes it is real, then we must treat it as such. The city of Caris Galadon began to fade into the background as they walked toward the edge of the Golden Wood. Gandalf's staff glowed faintly, illuminating their path. This journey will test us, Arendil, the wizard said, not just in strength, but in spirit. Arendil nodded, determination flickering in his eyes. Then let's begin. As they ventured beyond the safety of Lothlorien, the moonlight gave way to an ominous mist. The trees grew darker and more twisted, their branches reaching out like gnarled hands. But in the distance, Arendil thought he could see a faint light, a promise of the hall that awaited them. And so, their journey toward the heart of Middle-earth began, with the mysteries of the Hall of Aelinor guiding their steps into the unknown. The world beyond Lothlorien was stark in its contrast. As Gandalf and Arendil pressed onward, the golden glow of the elven woods gave way to the somber hues of untamed wilderness. The air was crisp with a biting edge, carrying whispers that seemed to ride the wind, echoing faintly around them. Arendil paused, his sharp ears catching the faintest notes of a melody. "Do you hear that?" he asked, his voice barely audible. Gandalf nodded. A song, ancient and familiar. We are not alone in these woods. The melody grew stronger as they followed its source, winding through thick underbrush and towering trees. Soon, they found themselves in a hidden glade, illuminated by the soft light of glowing flowers. At its center sat a figure, a weathered elf clad in robes of mossy green and silver, strumming a harp carved from a single piece of whitewood. "Welcome, travelers," the elf said, his voice resonating with a wisdom that belied his serene demeanor. "I am Lurinor, keeper of these woods. What brings you to my sanctuary?" Gandalf stepped forward, his staff glowing faintly. "We seek the Hall of Eleanor, a place spoken of in whispers and legends." Lurinor's expression grew solemn. "The hall is not a place for the faint of heart. Its enchantments test one's courage, wisdom, and purity of intent. Few who seek it ever return unchanged." Arundel took a hesitant step forward. "We mean no harm. Our purpose is to ensure that its power does not fall into the wrong hands." The elf regarded them for a moment, his piercing gaze searching their souls. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, I will guide you to the borderlands where your path begins, but I must warn you, the hall reveals not only truths, but also fears. Only those who embrace both can hope to pass its trials." As they followed Lurinor through the glade, the elf began to weave a tale. Long ago, the hall was created by the Maya Elbereth as a gift to the elves who sought wisdom beyond their years. It is said that the mirror within the hall reflects the desires and fears of one's heart. Some found clarity, while others were consumed by their visions. Arundel listened intently, his curiosity growing. "Do you believe it still exists?" Lurinor smiled faintly. "Belief is not required, young one. The hall exists where it is needed, appearing only to those destined to find it." Their journey took them through landscapes both strange and beautiful. At one point, they crossed a stream so clear that it seemed like glass. Beneath its surface swam silver fish that shimmered like stars. Lurinor paused, kneeling by the water's edge. "This stream is sacred," he explained. "Drink, and it will cleanse your spirit, preparing you for the trials ahead." Arundel cupped his hands, lifting the cool water to his lips. It tasted of morning dew and carried an inexplicable warmth. For a moment, he felt his doubts and fears melt away, replaced by a quiet resolve. As they continued, the terrain grew more challenging. They climbed steep inclines and navigated narrow paths carved into rocky cliffs. The air grew colder, and the trees became sparse, their skeletal branches silhouetted against a gray sky. Gandalf halted suddenly, his staff raised. "We are being watched," he murmured. From the shadows emerged a small group of woodland creatures, foxes with glowing eyes, and deer whose antlers seemed to shimmer with starlight. They surrounded the travelers, their presence neither threatening nor welcoming. Lurinor raised his hand in greeting. "They are guardians of this land, ensuring that none unworthy pass through. Stay calm, and they will judge your intent." The creatures studied them silently before parting to reveal a narrow archway formed by intertwining tree roots. Beyond it lay a mist-shrouded path leading into darkness. "This is where I leave you," Lurinor said, stepping back. "Beyond this point, your journey is yours alone. May your hearts remain true." Gandalf and Arundel bowed in gratitude. "Thank you, Lurinor," Gandalf said. "Your guidance has been invaluable." As they passed through the archway, the air grew heavy with anticipation. The mist swirled around them, carrying faint whispers that seemed to call their names. The path ahead was dimly lit by flickering lights that hovered in the air like will-o'-the-wisps. Arundel glanced at Gandalf. "Do you think we're close?" "Closer than we were," Gandalf replied with a faint smile. "But the true journey begins now." The whispers grew louder, forming fragments of words and phrases. They spoke of hopes and fears, of choices made and paths not taken. Arundel found himself drawn to the voices, his steps slowing as he tried to decipher their meaning. "Focus," Gandalf said gently, placing a hand on Arendel's shoulder. "The whispers are meant to distract. Keep your mind clear." They pressed on, the path growing narrower and more labyrinthine. The mist thickened, obscuring their vision, but Gandalf's staff glowed brighter, cutting through the gloom. Finally, they emerged into a clearing where a single ancient tree stood at its center. Its bark was silver, and its leaves glowed faintly with a golden hue. At its base lay an ornate door, its surface etched with runes that seemed to pulse with a soft light. Arundel stepped closer, his heart pounding. "The Hall of Aelinor." Gandalf nodded, his expression one of quiet determination. "We have found it. Now, the true test begins." As they approached the door, the runes began to shift, forming words that only Gandalf could decipher. He placed a hand on the door, his voice steady as he spoke an incantation in the ancient tongue of the Elves. The door creaked open, revealing a staircase that spiraled downward into darkness. Gandalf turned to Arundel, his eyes glinting with resolve. "Are you ready?" Arundel took a deep breath, nodding. "Let's go." And with that, they descended into the unknown, the mysteries of the Hall of Aelinor awaiting them in the depths below. The descent into the Hall of Aelinor was unlike anything Gandalf and Arundel had ever experienced. The spiral staircase seemed endless, each step resonating with a soft hum that echoed through the stone walls. Faint golden runes illuminated their path, flickering as though alive, responding to their presence. "Every step feels like it's pulling us deeper into something ancient," Arundel whispered, his voice barely audible against the hum. Gandalf nodded, his staff casting a soft, steady light. "This place is alive with magic, Arundel. Be mindful. The hall tests not only the mind, but the heart." As they reached the bottom, the air grew warmer, infused with a faint, sweet fragrance like blooming flowers in spring. Before them stretched a grand hall, its ceiling disappearing into the shadows above. The walls shimmered as if woven with threads of starlight, and the floor beneath their feet reflected their images like still water. At the center of the hall stood a grand mirror framed in silver and gold, its surface rippling like a pond disturbed by a single drop of water. Surrounding it were 7 glowing orbs, each radiating a different hue. The orbs hovered in the air, casting soft, ethereal light across the chamber. Arundel approached cautiously, his eyes wide with wonder. "The Mirror of Aelinor. It's more magnificent than I ever imagined." Gandalf remained still, his expression thoughtful. "The mirror shows truths hidden within the soul, desires, fears, regrets. It is not a reflection of the present, but a window into what lies beneath. The orbs began to pulse in rhythm, their colors blending into soft waves of light that danced across the chamber. As Gandalf and Arundel drew closer, the mirror's surface stilled, becoming a perfect, unbroken pane of silver. "Be prepared for what you might see," Gandalf cautioned. "The mirror does not lie, but it also does not reveal everything. It is both a guide and a challenge." Arundel hesitated, then stepped forward. As he gazed into the mirror, the silver surface shifted, revealing an image of himself standing in a radiant forest. Around him were his kin, their faces joyful and free of the burdens of time. Yet, in the distance, a shadow loomed, a figure cloaked in darkness, watching from the edge of the woods. He staggered back, his breath shallow. It showed me what could be, but also what threatens it. Gandalf placed a hand on his shoulder. The mirror speaks in riddles. It shows the balance of hope and fear, urging us to confront both. Now it is my turn. The wizard stepped forward, his staff glowing faintly as he peered into the mirror. The surface shimmered, revealing scenes of a battle fought long ago. Gandalf saw himself as a younger wizard, standing against dark forces that sought to engulf Middle-earth. But as the vision unfolded, it revealed something unexpected, glimpses of his future, not as Gandalf the Grey, but as Gandalf the White, a figure of light and wisdom beyond his current self. He exhaled deeply, his voice steady. "The path is clear, though it will not be easy." The orbs began to hum, their light intensifying. The mirror's surface rippled again, and the chamber filled with a resonant sound, like a deep, harmonious chord played on an unseen instrument. A voice echoed softly, neither male nor female, but a blend of both, ancient and knowing. "Those who seek the hall must prove their hearts are true, face the final test." From the shadows, a figure emerged, cloaked in swirling mist. It took the form of their greatest fears. Arendel's shadowy figure from the mirror and a dark reflection of Gandalf himself, twisted and cruel. The figures stepped forward, their presence filling the chamber with an oppressive weight. Arundel drew his blade, its edge glinting in the ethereal light. "How do we fight something that isn't real?" Gandalf raised his staff, his voice calm. "We face them not with weapons, but with truth. These are shadows of our fears, meant to test our resolve." The shadowy figures advanced, their forms shifting and distorting as they moved. Arundel closed his eyes, steadying his breath. "I am not afraid," he whispered, the words more for himself than anyone else. "The light of Lothlorien is within me." As he opened his eyes, the shadowy figure before him faltered, its form flickering. Arundel stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. "You are but a reflection, and I will not be bound by fear." The shadow dissolved into mist, leaving only the faint glow of an orb behind. Arundel turned to Gandalf, who stood firm before his dark reflection. "I know you," Gandalf said, his tone resolute. "You are the doubt that whispers in my ear, the temptation to abandon hope, but you hold no power here." The dark reflection sneered, but wavered under Gandalf's unwavering gaze. With a burst of light from his staff, the shadow dissolved, leaving the chamber bathed in a golden glow. The voice returned, softer this time. You have passed the test. The hall reveals its wisdom only to those who face themselves with courage and clarity. The mirror's surface shimmered one last time, revealing a map of Middle-earth etched in light. At its center was a glowing point, the location of a powerful relic hidden deep within the misty mountains. Eärendil stepped closer, his awe evident. What is it? Gandalf studied the map, his expression thoughtful. A key to understanding Sauron's plans. This knowledge must reach Rivendell. The chamber began to dim, the orbs fading one by one. As the last light disappeared, the door behind them opened, revealing the path back to the surface. Eärendil turned to Gandalf. Did we succeed? The wizard smiled faintly. The journey continues, but we have taken an important step. Come, Eärendil, Middle-earth awaits. Together, they ascended the staircase, leaving the hall of Aelinor behind. The air grew lighter, the oppressive weight of the chamber replaced by the crisp scent of the forest above. As they emerged into the sunlight, a sense of quiet triumph filled the air. The forest around them seemed brighter, the shadows less foreboding. Eärendil glanced at Gandalf, a newfound determination in his eyes. What lies ahead? Many challenges, Gandalf replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon, but also hope, and that, my friend, is worth fighting for. As Gandalf and Eärendil stepped out of the ancient hall of Aelinor, the soft golden glow of the morning sun filtered through the forest canopy, casting dappled light on the mossy ground. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the faint scent of blooming wildflowers and damp earth. It was a world transformed, as if the forest itself had been cleansed by their journey. Eärendil paused, glancing back at the hidden entrance, now concealed once more by the twisting roots of an ancient tree. Do you think anyone else will ever find it? He asked, his voice filled with quiet wonder. Gandalf leaned on his staff, a serene expression softening his features. Perhaps, but the hall reveals itself only to those who are ready to face its truths. For most, it will remain a secret, waiting in the shadows of time. The two companions began their journey back through the forest, their footsteps light against the soft bed of fallen leaves. Birds chirped softly in the distance, their melodies blending harmoniously with the rustle of the wind through the trees. The tension that had gripped the air during their descent into the hall was gone, replaced by a sense of calm and renewal. Eärendil turned to Gandalf, his expression thoughtful. What did you see in the mirror, if I may ask? The wizard's gaze lingered on the path ahead, his voice measured. I saw glimpses of what lies ahead, both light and shadow. It reminded me of the delicate balance we must maintain, the choices that shape not only our lives, but the fate of Middle-earth itself. Eärendil nodded, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. It showed me the weight of my fears, but also the strength I carry within. I didn't realize how much I doubted myself until I stood before it. Gandalf smiled faintly, his tone warm. Doubt is not a weakness, Eärendil. It is a reminder of our humanity, or in your case, your elven spirit. To question is to seek understanding, and in that pursuit lies wisdom. The path widened as they reached the edge of the forest, revealing a breathtaking view of the misty mountains in the distance. The peaks were bathed in golden light, their snow-capped summits glowing against the clear blue sky. The sight was both humbling and uplifting, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the journey that still lay ahead. Gandalf's gaze was steady. It is a piece of the puzzle, a beacon of knowledge in the darkness. But the fight against Sauron will not be won by relics or artifacts alone. It will require courage, unity, and the unwavering resolve of those who stand against him. The two stood in silence for a moment, the weight of Gandalf's words settling over them like a gentle cloak. The breeze carried the scent of distant wildflowers, a small reminder of the beauty worth protecting in Middle-earth. Finally, Gandalf spoke again, his tone lighter. "Come, Arundel, the road to Rivendell awaits, and Elrond will be eager to hear what we have discovered." Arundel chuckled softly. "I imagine he'll have 1,000 questions, and Glorfindel will insist on sparring, no doubt." Gandalf's eyes twinkled with amusement. "Indeed, the halls of Rivendell are rarely quiet, but they are always welcoming. It is a place where even the weariest traveler can find solace." They began their descent down the hill, the path winding gently toward the valley below. The light of the sun grew warmer, and the sounds of the forest gave way to the faint murmur of a nearby stream. Gandalf and Arundel walked in companionable silence, their steps unhurried, their hearts lighter. As they approached the stream, Gandalf paused, his staff planted firmly in the ground. He turned to Arundel, his expression thoughtful. "Remember this moment, my friend. The road ahead will not always be easy, and there will be times when the shadows seem insurmountable, but moments like these, of peace, of clarity, are what sustain us." Arundel nodded, his gaze steady. "I will remember." Gandalf smiled, his voice filled with quiet certainty. "Good. Then let us carry this light with us, wherever the road may lead." They crossed the stream, the water cool and clear as it danced over smooth stones. The path on the other side led them into a sunlit glade where wildflowers bloomed in a riot of colors. The air was filled with the gentle hum of bees and the soft rustle of leaves. As they continued their journey, the landscape shifted, the forest giving way to rolling hills dotted with ancient ruins and weathered stone paths. The world around them seemed to hold its breath, as if awaiting the next chapter of their tale. The sun began its slow descent toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the land. Gandalf and Arundel pressed on, their figures silhouetted against the golden light. The journey to Rivendell would take time, but they walked with purpose, their hearts filled with quiet resolve. As the first stars appeared in the twilight sky, Gandalf glanced at Arundel, his voice soft. "Rest will find us soon, and with it, the strength to face another day. Let us walk a little further, and then we shall make camp." Arundel smiled, his expression serene. "Lead the way, Gandalf." And so, under the watchful gaze of the stars, the two companions continued their journey, their steps light and their spirits steadfast. The road to Rivendell stretched before them, a path of hope and discovery, illuminated by the quiet glow of their shared purpose.